Hi, you guys. Finally, we have a discussion with Vanessa Hudgens, an actress and fashion icon, moderated by Gabrielle Korn, the editor-in-chief at NYLON Media.
I am so excited to have you here.
I'm so sad. We're so far apart.
I know. Do you
Are
want
the chairs supposed to be this far apart? Okay, it's
They're
okay.
really
It's
heavy.
fine. It's fine.
Wait, I got it. Okay.
Good job.
So you've been in the public eye during some really formative years of your life. Your career started when you were a kid, through when you were a teenager, through
Yeah.
your 20s, and you were in some really culturally important things. 13, Spring Breakers, High School Musical. So can you talk about what you've learned about yourself and the industry? I know that's a really broad place to start, but
Man. Yeah. I think the thing that always surprises me most is you never know what's going to hit, when, or why. It's kind of like you've been struck by lightning and magic happens. And for some reason, it resonates with people in a way that stays with them. And I've been so lucky to be a part of so many people's journeys in entertainment. When I did High School Musical, I had no idea. I didn't even want to go in and audition for it because I had auditioned for Disney several times before and never got a job and was getting kind of fed up. My mom's like, Vanessa, I have a really good feeling about this. She definitely had a hunch, and I'm very glad that I listened to her. Spring Breakers was just like something that I remember reading. Harmony Korine is obviously such a rule breaker. He just completely goes and does his own thing, does not meld to anyone's idea of what they want of him. And I remember reading it and being like, this is so odd and weird and interesting, and I just love that. And lucky enough, once again, it was that magic thing. I think when James Franco came into the picture, it was like, oh, I get what kind of movie we're making, because in the beginning it was a little hairy, you know? I mean, it was just us girls hanging out, and Harmony wanted us to spend time together to get to know one another. And our first few days of filming were literally just a bunch of teenagers drinking and topless and making out with each other. And I was like, I didn't sign up for this. This isn't the kind of movie I want to be making. But then James Franco came on, and there were several scenes in the film where he improv the entire scene. So 15 minutes later, Harmony's calling cut, and I have no idea what just happened because I feel like I kind of blacked out because it's just so heightened and crazy and surreal. And so yeah, that was another really interesting experience. I've just been really lucky. I don't know. I kind of stick by my guns. I follow my intuition, and it's been good to me so far.
with Spring Breakers, going from a project where you thought you knew what it was to something totally different, what did you walk away from? What did you walk away with after that?
I think the biggest thing that I was proud of myself for was to hold my ground. I remember when I read this script, the thing that scared me the most was the sex scene, of course, because I've never done one before. And it was in a relationship, and I feel like something like that is always more difficult when you're in a relationship because you gotta kind of tell them, or you don't, it's your prerogative how much you tell your partner. But I'm the type of person that needs to share everything with my partner. So it was difficult for me, and I was like, I don't wanna go topless. I don't want to show my breasts. My nipples are my own, and I want to keep them for myself and who I choose to show them to. And so I was very aware and conscious about my pasties during the entire thing, and could walk away from that saying, you know, I stood up for my morals and what I believe, and wasn't going to let that get what is the word I'm looking for? Get that pushed to the side.
And is that something that you then took into the rest of your life, that ability to set a boundary and say no?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's really important to stand up for what you believe. in all shapes and forms, because I think at the end of the day, you are your choices. So who are you at the end of it?
Yeah, and it's kind of like no one really prepares you for those moments. Like, I'm assuming no one said to you, like, it's okay to say no at this point, right? Like, was that kind of from within you?
I have to sneeze really badly.
Look at the light.
It's not gonna come. If it just happens, sorry.
I forgive you.
No, I mean, I think that my mom set a very strong example, and my dad also had such a fighter spirit that I kind of was instilled with, if I don't want to do something, I don't have to. I've always just kind of not really cared what other people thought, so it's allowed me to kind of stick to my guns.
That brings me to my next question, which is that a lot of your work has been really teen-oriented. So obviously that puts you in this position of being a role model. How does that affect how you live your life?
I mean, I want to be able to look back at my life when I'm 80 and say, yes, I did well. For myself and for my kids and for my grandkids. I think it's a very important thing to be a role model for everyone, even if you're not in the spotlight. For just the people that are in your lives, you want to set a good example. For the people who follow you on Instagram, you want to set a good example. I think that it's just really important as women to stand up for what we believe and be the leaders and show how we would live our lives and lead by example so that we can kind of set the pavement for the generations to come.
Does it ever feel like a burden, like not really having that leeway to kind of mess up?
I mean, everyone messes up, and I've messed up, and people know that I've messed up, and it's a public thing. I thank God that I've got a tough back and can take it, but I think at the end of the day, I'm like, we all make mistakes. We all can say the wrong things, and we all can do the wrong things that seem right at the time, but if you don't do it, then you don't know that it's wrong for you.
Totally.
So you gotta learn.
So since we're at a fashion and beauty conference, I would love to talk about your style. It's evolved so much over the years. So how would you describe your look now, and how did you arrive there?
Well, I love themes. I love characters. Well, being that I'm an actress, you would think that I love characters. So right now, I'm very into the Parisian chic thing. I love French women and the culture and the French actresses and just admire their whole thing they got going on. So I kind of embraced that, and that's where I'm at right now. But I'm all over the place. I think that fashion and beauty is such a fun thing and such a fun way to express yourself that I change who I am on a daily basis. I literally wake up in the morning and I go, okay, who do I want to be today? But that's what's like so fun about being a girl.
What made you decide to cut your hair?
Really broken ends, for the most part.
Yeah.
My hair was so broken because I was doing a movie here in New York and doing another movie in LA. And the movie here, they wanted my hair to be blonde. And the movie, oh no, opposite. Movie in LA, they wanted my hair to be blonde. Movie here, they wanted it to be dark. So it was going back and forth between like spraying it with this dark spray, and my hair is like black, and it basically breaking off every time they tried to wash it. So all these pieces were to like here and just a disaster. So I thought the easy way out would be to cut it. And now I just did another movie and they cut my hair again, and I don't really like it. So it's just gonna get chopped off when I'm done.
Can you tell us about that movie?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of like comedies recently, so it's nice. This is my jump back into something a little more darker and interesting, a little grittier. It's a movie with Mads Mikkelsen. He plays an ex-hitman who's about to retire in 10 days and moves out to the middle of nowhere in a cabin in a small town. I am his weird, offbeat, quirky mountain neighbor who photographs animals, and an unlikely friendship ensues.
Cool.
And then there's a turn, there's a twist.
When can we see it?
It'll be on Netflix at some point. I don't know. I start filming Tuesdays, so these things take a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, you mentioned you had been doing a lot of comedies and this is something darker. How do you decide what roles to take?
Is this going to challenge me and move me forward in a way that I haven't already? After High School Musical, I was in a place that was challenging because it's really easy to get put in a box. And when I was growing up, the reason why I started acting was because I had imagined myself playing a prostitute or a stripper or a drug addict or just like a really messed up character to bring light to someone that we may not see eye to eye on a daily basis and to be able to tell their story. And I just found that really beautiful and inspiring, and that's what I always wanted to do. So then doing a Disney movie, it definitely got me somewhere, but also derailed me from my original plan. So I had to say no a lot. And that continued through a lot of my career. Certain things would pop out and be like, ooh, this is interesting. I haven't done this. It scares me, so I should do it. But there's been a lot of no's. In the beginning of last year, I told myself this was going to be the year of sacrifice. This was the year that I was going to say yes more, and I was going to sacrifice my own comfortability to get me to go outside of my comfort zone and to keep the ball rolling, because it's easy to let the ball kind of slow to a stop. And it's been amazing what all has come my way. It really is a snowball effect. Once you start giving into something, things just keep coming your way.
So what's an example of something you've done that was outside of your comfort zone?
Well, this movie that I just said yes to, I read it, and there were several monologues that are very hefty, and Mads Mikkelsen is a fantastic actor, and it's really heavy stuff, some really dark stuff, and reading it scared me. Like, the idea of actually doing it just scared the crap out of me, because it's a lot to have to dig into. It's a lot to have to scratch at wounds on yourself. But I was like, no, because this is going to help me grow as an actor, so I'm gonna move into that place and do it.
How do you take care of yourself while you're doing that?
Ugh. Wine. Honestly, you kind of just do your best to get through it. I think that the process of it is so thrilling and exciting because it is what I love doing, that even through the pain of it all, there is still a certain thrill. It's afterwards that you leave the character behind, and it's like, I have no idea who I am, or like who I am supposed to be, or like what Vanessa likes. Yoga retreats help in those moments. But yeah, it's a really interesting thing, acting.
Something I was thinking about when I met you just now is that you and I are the exact same age. And are there things that you wish you knew at the beginning of your 20s that you know now? And like, what would you say to yourself?
Oh, man. I think to not be afraid to speak up. I think that obviously a very common thread that's going on right now is speaking up. I think that throughout history, women have been told to shut up, basically, to keep quiet and to stay on the sidelines. And whether or not that's for your job or for your relationships, I think for me, the thing that I want to use it towards the most is my relationships, whether that's romantically or with my team that I work with. It's so easy to kind of just like nod my head and say yes, because the act of explaining it would take so much energy. But I feel like that's not the time. I feel like now is the time to speak up, to be heard, and that's the only way I'm gonna get full fulfillment out of my life. So, yeah, to speak up, to not be afraid of my words.
Sam?
Good.
Awesome. So your stylist, Natalie, spoke on a panel today. Could you talk about your relationship with her and what the process is for red carpets?
Yeah. Yes, Natalie in the corner. Hooly hoo. Yeah, we've been working together for a few years now, definitely a long time, and she's been there for my style evolution as well. She always just kind of asks, okay, who do you want to be? Because I go through so many different phases, whether that's like strong, empowered, masculine meets chic, or like very feminine and floral, or frilly and Victorian. I'm just kind of all over the place, but it's truly a collaboration, and it's always so much fun because we both love fashion. So the fact that we get to play around with it is just, it's like a girl's dream.
Cool. So I think we're going to do audience Q&A now.
Cool. Does
There's
anybody
a
have any
microphone.
questions for me? Yes. Yeah, it was definitely, I had a few phone calls and multiple lookbooks sent to me. Gone through a few stylists over the years, you know, you evolve and you try to evolve your fashion as well, and sometimes that means other people. But Natalie was actually working for another stylist, and I just had always loved her style and her taste and what she brought. And when they kind of parted ways, I decided to stick with her because I liked her taste. But it's always so much fun. I think it's so incredible what stylists can do and how they can bring someone's look together and really evolve them as the person the public sees. Yeah.
So you mentioned that you've evolved in terms of your personal style and your fashion and the characters that you play. And of course, you're a public figure, so there are a lot of expectations from other people around you. So my question is, how do you stay true to your authentic identity or your authentic self, despite all these like flurry of evolutions and expectations and like being in the public eye constantly?
I kind of remove myself from it as much as possible. Of course, everyone has their own opinions, but I'm not really the person who's out at the trendy spots all the time or even at the fashion shows. I don't know, I feel like it's really amazing to be able to have a persona and to be a part of our pop culture. But for me, the thing that matters most is my craft and my relationships. And I feel like I know who I am. I've almost 30 now. But I feel like I have a pretty strong grasp on who I am. And anytime I feel myself moving away from that, I do a reality check and say, okay, is this evolution or is this me trying to step into someone that I'm not? And it's done me well so far. I'm still me. Yeah. Hi.
I was just wondering if there are any closet that you could raid and just use all of that clothing from there.
Bianca Jaggers. She is the ultimate style icon to me. The 70s were my favorite generation, and she was just everything. I think that she was kind of the first woman that truly embodied that masculine, feminine feel and did it in a way that was so effortless. Just the best.
With the line kind of blurring between entertainment and social media these days, how do you keep the line between being an actor and being a person?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think that that's something that I was really scared of a few years ago. But if you look at nowadays, there isn't really a line. I think that everyone can do everything as long as your work is speaking for itself. If So You Think You Can Dance came to me a few years ago and said, hey, would you mind being a judge on the show? I'd be like, no, because I'm an actress. But nowadays, it's like people's minds are so open. You can be a designer, you can have a makeup line, you can be an actress, and you can be a writer. Like, you can kind of be whoever you want to be. So I feel like as long as I'm doing my main work first, which is acting, and that's in the world and it's speaking for itself, I'm allowed to be my own person on the sidelines as well. Yeah. Yeah. No one else raised their hand, so it's you, girl.
Being as like big as you are, and I know you're like super humble, which is one of the reasons why so many people love you. Like I think a lot of us are actually just like bloggers and Instagrammers and influencers, and it's like how do you cross between like being so humble as big as you are, and also like not get overwhelmed by everything and not let it like get to you? I think like it's a very strong trait because as even if you have like millions and millions of followers, and you can still be very like, well, it's okay, you know, like I'm still my own, like I'm still.
Yeah. I think that it's really important to have a community of people around you that love you for you and can support you and lift you up no matter what. Because I feel like once you build a community of people that you don't know online, that's great, and it's amazing that you can spread your word and spread your truth and help them on their journey as well. But I think that it's really hard to rely on engagement from people you don't know. So I think the biggest thing that I would say is just to make sure you have a community of like people around you that are always there to lift you up and support you. Because I feel like with that, you can make anything happen.
So if your mom never encouraged you to do that last Disney audition, what, and like High School Musical never, took off and all that, what do you think you would be doing right now?
I would be doing the same thing, but just probably on a different scale. I think that doing High School Musical obviously put my name in front of a lot of people's faces virtually overnight. I love acting. I love performing. I would 100% still be doing it, but I don't know if I would be here talking to you now. I don't know. Maybe it would be a different convention, or I honestly have no idea, but I do know that this is my passion and my dream, and I'm living it. So I would still be doing it. Yeah. Anybody else? Yes.
What role do you feel like pushed you the most as like a human being? Like after
Oh, that's good.
the experience of filming it and you left?
Yeah, I did a movie called Gimme Shelter where, oh, thank you, I put on 20 pounds. I personally cut off my own hair. And it was the first time that I looked in the mirror and I didn't see myself. And as an actor, that is the most thrilling thing in the world. And it was so exciting. I found so much joy and comfort and power in my ugliness that I saw in the mirror. And every day just had the most amazing time morphing myself into this different person, someone who didn't have a privileged life, someone who lived on the streets and was pregnant and had no one to turn to. I mean, it was a really amazing thing to share that person's story. But afterwards, I was completely lost. Like, Vanessa was completely gone. My girlfriend came to my house the day that I got back, and normally I like run up to the door to greet her, and I'm like such a lover, so I want to hug her and hold her. But this time I said the door's open, and she came walking in, and she said she looked at me and she saw a person she'd never seen before. And I was kind of hunched over at the computer, and she could tell that I just looked like a wounded bird. And it was the first time that I was just like, oh my God, I don't know who Vanessa is. Like, I have to completely find myself all over again. And I think that was like one of the most important things that happened to me as a woman, to basically start from scratch and say, who am I? What do I believe in? What am I into? What do I want out of life? And I think that's definitely pushed me more than any part has so far. Yeah.
We live in a very social media driven world. What social platform are you most active on, and do you ever engage with your fans?
I'm mostly on Instagram. I feel like I'm engaging with my fans by posting things, Like, I'm sharing this with everyone because I want to engage with them. I don't spend that much time sitting on my phone, checking in and reading with other people because I'm doing other things. But like, I love trying to stay engaged with them, and I feel like showing your life is enough, isn't it? And then being able to talk to them and see them whatever chance that I get. I mean, I feel like I'm engaged every day with people I walk down the street with. Yes.
So you've done like acting, you've done singing. Where do you feel the most like yourself, or where do you feel the most comfortable?
I've always said acting is my #1 thing, but recently being in the studio singing, I feel like I heard the way I think I sound for the first time. Because I feel like we all think we sound one way when we're singing in the shower, and then God forbid someone records and you're like, dear God, that's what I sound like? This was like the first time that I actually heard back myself, and I was like, oh wow, I actually sound great. Like I actually sound the way I think I am sounding. It sound really cool. So I'm starting to get more comfortable in the studio, which is really nice. Yeah.
I'm from Brazil. I saw you first time. My children are huge fans, and so do I. What would you change from the past? What do you change in your life?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's the most cliche answer, but like nothing, because I'm so proud of who I am today, and I feel like I'm still learning, obviously, but the mistakes that I have had have made me stronger and have made me more aware and more knowledgeable, and allows me to hold my own a little more and hold my head up higher because I have been through things. So nothing. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry?
Was your acting different from performing in movies to Broadway?
The scale is definitely slightly larger on stage, just because in films you've got a camera right there that's literally in your face documenting every blink. And on the stage, people are a little bit further away. So it is definitely kind of a different style. It's a little bit bigger on the stage, but they're both a lot of fun. Well, cool.
Thank you so much.
There's one more. Maybe
one
last
more,
one.
If you had to like define your personal style in a few sentences or in a few words, what would that be?
Bohemian, chic, empowered, and feminine.